Hi friends, this is Caly with you, sharing some colorful mass-produced rainbow cards. I'm using the Straight-Up Rainbow Die-namics today, and this cuts 7 strips of cardstock and has a cute little cloud with a face. Today we're just going to be using the strip die and the face because I want the clouds to stretch across the bottom of my card and then fill up the top portion with strips of rainbow color. For the clouds, I'm going to be using the Stitched Cloud Edges Die-namics. I adore the Straight-Up Rainbow die so much that I've mass-produced cards with it twice now. For my cards today, I've used 15 colors of MFT cardstock. I know that sounds like a lot, but I assure you it goes very quickly and you're not going to regret the results. So the reason why I needed 15 strips is because I knew that these strips were 1/4 inch wide. So I needed it to go across the panel, but I also wanted my panel to mat my A2 size card base. So I've cut my panels down to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. And so instead of using 16 strips, I'm going to take off 1/4 inch and just use the 15. I have all my strips laid out here in front of me, and I've done a few panels off camera to show you. And now we'll just start by adding some adhesive to my panel. And you can add more, but I found that 3 was just right to securely hold the strips in place at the very ends and at the center. And this also helps because it's forgiving when you have to remove any of the strips for realignment. Since I've trimmed my card to size before starting, I'm going to be really careful just to line up the top so that I don't have to do any additional trimming later. Now I'll start die cutting my cloud layers. At first I thought I would only need 2 layers of clouds, but I decided to add a third to make sure that that white space there that you see at the bottom of my card is adequately covered. So the front piece is going to be the piece with the cloud face, and then the very back piece is going to be the vellum piece. I like to add vellum to cloud layers because I think it gives it a little bit more transparency and a little bit more of a dreamier look to it. As mentioned, I did add a third layer of cloud, so you'll be seeing that here in a little bit. I went ahead and finished all 7 panels here and went ahead and die cut all of those extra cloud pieces that I didn't do before. And then I formed an assembly line. As you can see, I've also added some blue shading to the top of my clouds just for the front layer so that we can see a definitive line between each layer and just to give it a little bit more color and interest. One last tedious little thing that I have to do is just to add some color behind the negative space on these faces. I've just hand cut some little pieces of pink cardstock and some black cardstock to cover up the negative space here for the cheeks and the eyes and the mouth. And so now I'm adding glue to those areas just to make sure it covers up the cardstock that I'm about to put over these spaces. So then I will add my pink for the cheeks and then add a black piece over that for the eyes and the mouth. Now that I have all of my pieces prepped, putting these cards together is a breeze. I'm adding some glue directly to my rainbow panel there at the very bottom for my vellum layer, and then I'll add some glue over that to add my cardstock for the second cloud layer. And then before attaching my final layer, I'm just going to line it up to the bottom and then cut off the excess before I adhere that top portion because I want to use foam adhesive, and that's always a little bit more difficult to trim off with foam and dimension. So I'll go ahead and trim off that excess paper there at the very end and then add my foam adhesive and then attach it to the bottom of my card. Alright, seriously guys, how happy does it make you to have a stack of rainbow cards just like this? It looks tedious, but it's really fun and quick to put together. Okay, so one final thing to do is to attach the sentiments. I've stamped 7 different sentiments from the Rainbow Greetings stamp set and embossed them in white over black cardstock. I've cut them down to strips, and now I'm just going to cut strips of foam adhesive to stick behind them. It's always easier to prep like this when you're mass producing. It just makes everything go by so much smoother instead of cutting, attaching a sentiment, then going back and restarting that process. So when you're mass producing, my tip is just to do one step at a time and finish each step as you go, and that way putting it all together will be a breeze. For my first few cards, I put all of my sentiments at the bottom, but then decided to toss it up a little bit and add a few sentiments towards the top of my rainbow there in the stripe section just to change things up a little bit. No one will know, and everyone is going to love their card regardless. Okay, I lied and got a little bit too excited. I have one more step, and that's to create my card bases and then adhere all of my card panels to these card bases. That's quick and easy to do. I'm just folding a top folding card here and then adding some adhesive to the back of my panel and then attaching it. And then you'll see that white border across the top and the sides, and I really like that on all of my cards. I don't know why. I feel like it mats and frames everything like a picture. So that finishes up my card today. I hope everyone liked this project. I know rainbows are all over the place, but I can't seem to get tired of them. So I love making these cards. And if you love rainbows like me, I hope you'll give this a try. This die is so versatile, and I can't wait to see what everyone makes. Thanks so much for joining me today. Have a good one. Bye.